Hello guys, welcome to this video. In this video, we are going to see how we can group the data frame. So let's get started with basic import. And now we are going to create a dictionary called cricket players. Now this dictionary will contain the name of the cricket players, run they have scored, the country which they belongs to, and their year of birth. Let's go ahead and create a data frame from this dictionary. And if you look at the content of data frame, so this is the layer player's name, then we have runs, country, and year of birth. Now consider a use case wherein if we had to find out the youngest player among this list of the players provided. So we could do this using, say, select year of birth and a maximum value, right? So this will give us a year which is maximum. That means the player with maximum year of birth would be considered as youngest among the list, right? So that means the player who was born on 83 is youngest among the list, right? In this case. Now, if we had to find out the complete details, what is the name, run here, score, and country for the player who is youngest among the list, what we could do is instead of max, we could use a function called idx max. Now, it will return a row index of the player who is having a maximum year of birth, and then we could use a function in order to get the complete information of from the row index. We could use a function called ilog, and if you run this, we would see the information of the of a player who is youngest among the list is being displayed. Now this was a straightforward. Now consider a use case wherein we wanted to find out youngest player in each country. So in order to get this detail, first thing we need to do is group our data frame with the country column. So first thing we would try to find out how many unique countries are there in our data frame. So we could do this using a unique function and unique. So it will return all the unique countries in our data frame. So if you see, there are 4 unique countries in our data frame. And now let's go ahead and group our data frame based on the country. Now group by, when we group the data frame using any column, it returns a data frame group by object. Now in order to see the internal representation of this group by object, I will take you through another IDE called PyCharm. And so what I have done is I have just copied same piece of code here, and I will just debug this piece of code so that I can show you how does the internal representation of this group 5 frame looks like. So let's go ahead and debug this. I have placed a breakpoint here wherein we are iterating through each of the group by data. Now if you look at the debug variables here, right? So the first thing we would see, this is our original data frame. So the original data frame has all the data as we have seen earlier: name of the players, run here, score, country, and year of birth. Now in the first iteration, when we have grouped the data based on the country, we are collecting that information into a group name and group df. So these are the new variables we have created here. So if you look at the group name, it is displayed as AUS, right? And the next variable, if you can check the group df, let's check the content of this group df. So it will contain the data of only Australia. So this is the group by data based on the country, and now the first frame, it is showing the data for Australia. Now let's check for another country, and we are running for second iteration. Now in the second iteration, your group name is IND, and your group data would contain the data for India. Now if you go to the next loop, which is count 2, and if you check the content now, it will contain the data which is grouped by Pakistan. So this is how the data and the data are being grouped, and internal representation of this group by object look like. So coming back here, we would do the same thing here. Group name, group df in. So let's assign a new variable here, group data. And we can just go ahead and print this data. Say for group, details are group name and group df. Oops, click on it to run this. Yes. And I think for simplicity, I will add some more comment here so that we can differentiate each iteration. So the first group we see is Australia, and these are the details for Australia. Now, one thing it is important to note here is if you look at the index, right? Index of each group 3 and 8. So for Australia, it is showing 3 and 4. If you look at the original data frame, for the first player, say pointing, the row index was 3. And for one it was a 4, right? So the row index is not being changed even if you are grouping the data. So our task was to identify a player who is youngest in each country. Now we have a group, the df, so we can find out your year of birth in, and then we can find out idx max. So this should return a id of row index. So idx max means it will return a row index of the player for whom the year of birth is maximum, right? Or higher value or large value compared to previous other values in the same group. So, and if we wanted to extract the details of the player, we could use this using df. And of course, as I said, right, these are the index of the original data frame. So we should specify original data frame, which is a df in our case. And then we could use a ilog function because we have a row index and we wanted to extract the details for a player based on the row index. Now let's comment this out, and if we run this, print the data. So now if you look at the output, you'll see that the pointing is youngest for Australia. For, okay, I think let's check that out from the data frame. So for Australia, we have a 2-player, pointing and Vaughan, and pointing was born in 83. So he is the youngest player. This exactly matches with our result for another object, say India. Sachin is youngest because he was born in 1980 and Jadeja was born in 1969. So this exactly matches. For Pakistan, we have only 1 player, and for Sri Lanka also we have 1 player. So this exactly matches with the result, and this is exactly what we are looking for. So that's all for this today's session. Thank you so much for watching.